You're listening to a main feed episode. Go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers where €5 a month gets you weekly full-length episodes, stray bonus content and access to the back catalogue. Also helps cover hosting and gives us money for sweeties. Thank you. Celtic Ligers.
Recorded 9th and 11th of July 2024.
When did he die? When did JFK die?
1963. Ask me how I know that. Ask me how I know that.
And when did Michael Collins die?
1921.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't know if that's true. That sounds completely wrong, doesn't it?
I actually don't know.
I'm going to look it up. Damn, 1922. Fuck. Oh,
So close. At
you're
least he gets
1
a Civil
year
War
out.
year.
You are 1 year out.
You guessed a Civil War year at least.
Yeah.
I have this reproduction of the blanket that... have you heard of Foxford rugs?
No.
Well, they make blankets as well as rugs. But famously, quote unquote, Collins was wrapped in a Foxford rug blanket after he died, after he was shot. And a few years ago, they issued a reproduction of that blanket. There's no bullet hole or anything in it, but it's just like the pattern. And I was walking past Varadkar's house. He's the same one.
I thought that was for the cameras. I didn't think he actually did think much of Collins.
I have no idea. Like, me too. I was sort of surprised. To be honest, I was surprised to see any sign of, like, interior life. Yeah. Like, the fact that there was any sort of, like, little personal mark in the building. I mean, I was just looking in through the window.
Yeah, from the bushes. There was... I was out there holding a big yellow sign with black text on it. I couldn't read it, but, you know, a lot of guys in hoods and masks getting real heated.
Wait, I was holding the sign, but I couldn't read it.
Yeah, and I just kind of fumbled that one a bit. I was just handed it. You were handed the sign, and you're like, no point in reading this.
No point. I presume it's a leftist perspective on something. Time to adopt it wholesale.
It's it was a big noose painted on it. Anyhow, so yeah, I was just wait, what was I going to say? I mean, one thing I was going to say is probably somebody just gave that to Varadkar.
I can imagine he bought it when he was Taoiseach.
Do you think
he was like, "Oh, I'm Taoiseach now. This be nice." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but did you ever see that video of him when he's like 18 and he's being interviewed in college and he's joined Young Fine Gael?
And he's fat.
Yeah, he's fat. But then they ask him, like, why did you join Fine Gael? And he's literally like, it wasn't like, oh, my family was this, or, you know, or even like the policies are like this. Well, I think he does say that, but you could tell just like aesthetically he was looking at it and going like, you know, he made a cosmetic decision with his policy that the vibes felt right, and he went for it. You know?
Why join Fine Gael? There'd be several reasons. I felt that Fine Gael was a particularly pro-European party, and I'd be very passionate about Europe. It was liberal enough to suit my own views, and also I supported the sort of liberal economic policies that Fine Gael would support.
So I feel like, and then the fact that he goes, oh yeah, Michael Collins, and you're just like, you don't have... Tell me anything about Michael Collins that you think he thought. Yeah. You know? And you just... There's just no way that you'd have anything in common with him at all. Like, you know, like whatever about... Yeah.
What it is that he said? He said... He was like... In many ways, I'm like Collins
Because he believed in the free market or something.
he was he was a rebel who understood the value of like managing a balanced budget or something.
Yeah. Let me look that
There's
up,
something
actually.
where it's like, that's not the thing people know Collins for. No one's like, and he was a great Minister for Finance.
Yeah. I would have thought that people really didn't care much for the initial government. Do you know, they would have thought like these are like famously it would be there are a bunch of revolutionaries who did not understand how to govern. You know.
This is where my own history falls down. But you know, there's obviously the Rising in 1916, famously,
Yeah.
and then the treaty was signed in 2021.
Yeah.
So I think between those 5 years, a lot of stuff changed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that people in the Rising were popular. But I think that by the time, like, a government was formed, and had been going on for a bit. And then, by the Civil War, I think people were, you know, pretty happy to pick a side.
Yeah, I get you. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Should be mad not to.
Let me see. I mean, there's a tweet here where he said he was Minister for Finance, and what he had to do was make sure that he raised the money for the new state that had been declared. It kind of proves to me that even revolutionaries need the confidence of the markets. That wasn't it, though, was it? There was another one?
That was it. I think I just
right.
really warped into my brain to be something funnier.
Well, I probably isn't the last time he spoke about Collins. There's definitely somewhere else that...
What else is Collins famous for? He was big.
I only know Liam Neeson, the movie.
Did he play Collins?
Liam Neeson, yeah.
It's funny, because Collins was like, had the build of like, he was fatter.
Was he? Doesn't look fat in the pictures.
Well, for the time.
Right. I thought...
Like, they called him the big fella, didn't they?
Yeah. You're asking the wrong man here.
Well, they did, I think.
We need to get on our brother podcast, Shite Talk History.
No.
Okay. And then in the only one in Michael Collins, in the Michael Collins movie, there was a bit where he goes, "That's not a sod of turf, that's a fucking weapon." So that's the only thing I know about Michael Collins.
And what was the weapon?
It was a sod of turf.
Who's he saying that to?
Because they were going, "We don't have anything," and then he picks up a sod of turf and he's like, "That's not a sod of turf, it's a fucking weapon." And then they light it on fire and start throwing it at the Brits. Which is like, if you know anything about turf, the idea of throwing a sod.
Say, I feel like Collins didn't say that.
Yeah, but he would never say that, but also like immediately extinguished upon like this.
Yeah,
it doesn't
like
create
coal.
like a raging fire. You know, it's you know.
Yeah, he was from Cork. He used to dress up as a nun. He was a civil servant.
What else? He had a bike like Eamon Ryan.
Yes. Eamon Ryan should come out with that. He should be like, in many ways, I'm like Collins too.
Because I ride a bike.
Cycle a bike, dress up as a nun.
What was that last one? You know?
I said I dressed up as a nun.
Dressed up as a none of your fucking business. There's a statue now of Collins in Cork with him on the bike. So,
really?
Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually. I like it.
Yeah. We should give him like a little document on the other hand that says like public-private partnership. So just to like retcon history.
Yeah.
The two things everyone knows about him.
Yeah.
He cycled a bike and he was he relied on investment from multinational corporations.
It is funny that like that's another way that makes you feel that Varadkar is entirely performative, where he's like, oh, like his real love is capital, you know? So He's like, well, of course, maybe that's the reason he likes Michael Collins, because he was Minister for Finance. But the idea is that, like, and of course, it just proves to me that even revolutionaries need the confidence of the markets. That really kind of is just like he's getting juiced up thinking about the markets.
Yeah.
It's not like a revolution. It's more like, see, he needed money as well. All you people who think I need to go out there and die for a cause.
Yeah. It does imply that he thought Collins did it for, like, so that he could be treasurer.
Yeah, exactly.
Not so that there could be free Ireland.
So he could be closer to the money.
Yeah.
There was we were watching the news just before we started recording, and the kind of fluff item on the news was that Nathan Carter, do you know him?
Yeah, the country music.
Yeah. He's gonna be playing at Castlereagh Prison. And I was like, oh, all right. So he thinks he's like Johnny Cash or
Yeah.
And then they were like, yeah, he's going to be performing for the staff of Castlereagh Prison. and then they were interviewing them, and then they were like, so, like, are the inmates going to be able to, are they going to go and see it? And then your woman goes, we actually have a very high-tech prison, so the inmates don't have to go see it. It can be streamed into their cells, so they can watch it. And I was like, that's such a heartless thing to say. Of just like,
yeah,
what, you're hearing it? It's like, why bother going to see the Rolling Stones when you can just watch the fucking DVD of it?
Yeah. What prison is this?
Castlereagh. I found an article here about the
Where's
awfully
that?
independent. Country music legend Johnny Cash famously performed for prison inmates on a number of occasions, and now a country performer closer to home is about to follow in the Man in Black's footsteps. It was announced today, Friday, that Nathan Carter will be performing a charity concert entitled Locked Up at Castlereagh Prison on Thursday, July 11th. It's very tasteless. Details of the show were revealed by Irish Prison Service, which said it would serve as a fundraiser for 3 good causes in Roscommon and surrounding counties.
What counts as a good cause in Roscommon?
It will go towards the Sensory and Healing Garden in the new Mayo Roscommon Hospice, and toward the purchase of new baby monitors and other equipment for the paediatric ward in Sligo General Hospital. First of all, I feel like the government... Sorry.
A good cause in Roscommon should be like digging wells, like they do in Ghana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like building schools out of Pepsi Max tins and stuff. Do you know that there's a tin church in Sallins?
No. Where's Sallins?
Kildare.
A tin church?
Yeah.
Does tin rusts, doesn't it?
I have no idea. It mustn't.
The Irish Prison Service... This is great, though. The Irish Prison Service said the concert was also for the benefit of the staff and prisoners of Castlereagh Prison, and in that it would be streamed on the Prisoner TV channel.
That's so horrible.
Yeah.
And
then they showed like a bit of inside the cell just to show like what they had in there, and one of them had an Xbox 360, and I was like, huh. That was funny.
Yeah, he's there playing Halo 3. And they're like, there's like red hot glowing Xbox 360. Do you know how loud they were?
Yeah, someone in the cell next door is like, you need to stop playing that. You can hear it all the way here.
Be like in Guantanamo Bay where they're like blasting,
What were they blasting again? I can't remember.
Whoever it was, they found out, they were like, stop that. It was
I think
like
one of them was Rage Against the Machine that were being blasted, and then...
Was it?
Yeah. Okay, let's see what they were looking at.
I've been listening to a lot of Rage Against the Machine.
Do you think that they're a new metal band?
I have no idea. But it was like when I'm driving home from my horrible job, I get into the car and I blast this stupid music. And I'm like, yeah,
Guerrilla
that's
radio.
true. And I swear to God, I was there and I was in the the like office shirt. I was blasting this music. A woman on the side of the road took a photo of me. She was like, there goes the Unabomber.
Now you see what the point of that music is. There'd be like a documentary and then a Marilyn Manson type figure, just like in Bowling for Columbine, would be like, you know, I'd listen to James, and that's what no one else did.
Yeah.
10 songs that the CIA used to torture prisoners. Baby One More Time, Britney Spears. Bodies by Drowning Pool. I think that's the bodies hit the floor. I think that's that one, isn't it? Born in
what
the
was
US.
the first one?
Baby One More Time by Britney Spears.
I don't know that one.
Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen.
Eddie Kenny's favorite.
Yeah.
Rebel.
And then Bruce Springsteen is like, actually, that was an ironic song that you're using to torture prisoners.
Yeah.
Die Motherfucker Die by Dope.
Don't know that one.
I think it goes Die Motherfucker Die. That one, you know.
And that was Die Motherfucker, sung by a Dope.
Oof. Well, yeah.
Thank you.
Nobody can hear it, but another golf clap there. Enter Sandman by Metallica. Off the Neverland.
Yeah.
I hate
We should
Metallica.
start like an acapella, man.
Yeah, that's true. Kim by Eminem. Don't know that one.
Yeah, I'm him.
Somebody did like a tweet and they were doing an impression of what Eminem rap sounds like. And it was like, they're going, Eminem, and then like a gay slur, you know, just like various words rhyming with salmonella spelt like said really quickly. And then all of a sudden, the F word, the bad one. Raspberry Beret by Prince.
Don't know that one.
Rawhide, the Blues Brothers.
Rawhide. Muted. Go on.
Chihuahua. They should play that one.
They should play yeah. They should play The Rising of the Moon.
They should play Galway
Kelly.
Girl. Psh, that's torture.
Yeah.
They did 10 seconds into Galway Girl. Oh, I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Yeah.
Because torture works, folks.
The song I would unironically do to torture somebody is Mr. Bright Eyes.
What's wrong with Mr. Bright Eyes? I mean,
I know Mr. Bright Eyes. The one by the Killers.
yeah, that's Mr. Brightside. Sorry, Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
It was only a case I couldn't end up like this.
Yeah.
I have a really bad memory of that song where I went to the Gaeltacht and there was like a Kaylee on like one of the last nights that you're there. And I remember that everybody, it was like really dark in this like community like pool hall type thing on Inishmore. And everybody was like shifting except me, obviously. And then I was looking over at this like acne ridden guy who was like my bunkmate for the entire time I was there. And he had like, you know those shirts, you know like the kind of shirts that used to be worn with bootcut jeans and they were like stripe and they would be like purple and navy striped shirts.
Yeah, yes.
And he had like an open collar and the disco ball was like flashing lights all over his face and he was like mouthing the lyrics of this to me but like directing them at me because we were the only ones not getting with somebody or you know with some girl and and it was meant to be like, hey man, well we're having a good time anyway, aren't we? And I'm like, I'm not having a good time. I would hate this normally but the added thing of just feeling like, you know, a complete frigid was like,
I mean, I have the exact same memory. I mean, like, minus that guy, obviously, but like, word for word, you know? It's such a horrible...
another interesting... sorry.
The version of that guy, my one, was he... on the first day, he was wearing, like, a Mayo jersey. And then he was like... then the next day, like a few days later, because he wore it for a while, then he was wearing like a Kildare one.
Yeah.
And someone was like, oh, are you from Mayo or Kildare? And he's like, neither. I just bought a load of these shirts. They were only €5. And he had like 6, just different counties.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
God, the people that you'd meet out there are so peculiar. They're just, I've never met anybody like some of the people in the Gaeltacht, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
The other detail I was going to mention is that if you like went outside to get some air, then, so it's like entirely dark, because there, at that time anyway, in Inishmore, there was no street lights on the entire island. So like the roads wouldn't be illuminated.
Yeah.
And the only light was coming from this pool hall. And it kind of obviously cast enough of a glow just before it met the road. And there was like a wall on the road, and all of like the local kids were just there, and their faces are like being illuminated just by the pulsing light. And they're like looking up, like waiting for some sort of gap, you know, because there's an adult standing outside to make sure they don't get in. And they're just waiting for an adult to not be there so they can like sneak in.
Really?
And then a few years later, then I went, it was like 2010, I think, or 2009. And I was out there because my friend had a band and they were playing Ted Fest. Okay. So anyway, he played in this pub and it went really well. And then afterwards, we were like, oh, you want to go out, go somewhere. And there was like some sort of like town hall that had been turned into a like a dance hall for the night anyway, and they were serving drinks. And we went over there, and we were there with like 3 people, and then one guy with us, who I didn't really know, he just kind of like started he brushed up against this girl, and he was like, oh, sorry. And then immediately 3 guys just descended, like, what's happening? What's going on here? What are you saying? It's like, no, I'm just sorry. I was just talking to... Yeah, you were talking to her. Well, you shouldn't even be fucking talking to her. She's my fucking girlfriend. Yeah, she's his girlfriend, so fuck off. And they were getting like... Wow. We had to leave because they got so hostile. And I told my dad about that, and he says... he's like, at least, you know, once a month, he has to do a case out in Inishmore or out in one of the Iron Islands where somebody goes out and talks to some lady, and then because there's so few women out there, basically, like they will like kick the fucking head off you if you talk to the one woman that somebody's dating there. They'll be like, no, fuck off. Yeah. Anyway, that was I wouldn't have believed if I hadn't experienced it. It was just this immediate hostility. And then, yeah, likewise, when that Kaylee was happening, you have those guys out there who are just like, there are girls here, you know? Yeah. I need to get in and meet the fucking girls. It must be hell. Honestly, I'm sorry, but like, you know, all of these things we need to preserve, you know, our island communities. And I was like, we need to destroy them. Yeah. Bomb them from the air, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I know my story. I don't know if I've told people on the pod, but I managed to go to the wrong island.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I don't think you told anybody, because that was news to me. That was such a funny...
I definitely told you.
No, you told me, yeah, like a week or so, like a few weeks ago. But
I know the other time. Anyway, but I went to the wrong... Supposed to be visiting someone on Inishmore. And somehow I ended up on Inishmore.
Yeah.
Or Arranmore, whatever it's called. And it was New Year's Day. And it was freezing. And there was no ferry back that day. So I just got a list up of all the B&Bs. And there's and like night is falling. And I'm like ringing them. And there was somewhere I was looking at the building. The lights were on.
Yeah.
And like it's just a house that has a few bedrooms. And I was like, I'm going to the wrong island. And like all of them were just like, how'd you manage that? That's stupid. And then I was like, I know. I was like, I know. Anyway, do you have a spare room? And they were all just like, no, we're closed. And it was like, but even if it's just somewhere, like, even if the bed's not made up, no, we're closed. Okay, bye. And they were all just like that.
Yeah.
And then I found the personal number of the guy who owned the hostel. I found it on like boards.ie or something. And I rang him, and I was like, I know this is crazy, but is there any chance you could? Because at this point, I was like, I'm going to end up sleeping on the beach. And it's like,
Yeah.
or like in a ditch, and it's like 5 degrees. It's like -2.
Yeah.
I'm going to freeze to death.
It gets very cold out there. Yeah.
He really does. And like I could say, in the town now, there's a few street lights. But like, once you're out of the town where some of the hotels are, it's dark, you know?
It's pitch black, yeah.
It's pitch black. And then I'm also aware that, like, on an island like that, after you tell one person something, everyone on the island knows.
Yeah.
So, like, there are cars going by, and it's just like, they know that I'm the dub who's just managed to go to the wrong island and is fucked. But yeah, he let me sleep in the staff room, which is nice. Of the hostel.
Can you say that other detail about your friend, or is that...
Yeah.
Is that telling tales?
And then it turns out, I went then next day, managed to get out to the other island. And, like, I'd rang him to let him know why I hadn't turned up. Like, he knew the situation. Like, we go for a walk, we ran into one of his friends from the island. And they're like, oh, we heard you went to the wrong island. Oh, you should have let us know, because there's a big WhatsApp group. We would have found you somewhere to stay. We would have found you a bed for the night.
Yeah.
Didn't say. Just, I mean, didn't think to...
That's such a strange thing.
Yeah. And then he was like, why didn't you ask for help? I was like, well, you knew, you know?
Yeah.
You knew, so I figured if you had, you would have offered.
Yeah, if you knew. Like, because, like, you're going out there and you're going, well, they're two different islands. There's no, like maybe people from Inishmore know people from Inishmore, but, like, there's no, like, wow, we all just know each other and I can just find your house on Inishmore.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, and he's like, oh, you should have asked.
No. So the theme song from Barney, that's another torture song.
Yeah, that would annoy me.
And then White America by Eminem. So the CIA understands Eminem.
How does that song go?
It goes, this looks like White America. No, I don't know how it goes. I've never heard it.
It's actually a good song.
No, it's not. Because Zainab's saying it's actually a good song, but I think that's impossible because...
You don't like Eminem?
No, I always hate him. I hate it. It's just voiced too nasally.
He talks about
who's your favorite rapper?
Who's my favorite rapper? I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. I mean, Doom, probably. I like Doom.
That's a movie.
And then... Who's good? Who's somebody who I was like, oh, I have to... I could listen to any of their tracks and just be like...
Macklemore?
Yeah, obviously. Didn't even have to say. Although I would say the thing about Macklemore is he's like the only one who's been openly pro-Palestine. Did you see that he wrote a song about Palestine?
He writes a song about everything, though. He wrote a song about St. Patrick's Day.
Well, I'm just saying that it's not a popular thing. Okay, fine.
He's a freak. He ruined thrifting.
Yeah, I used to love thrifting.
Yeah, I used to love getting smelly rags from Simmons and the Paul. I saw a thing and it was someone, it was like a page for like things on Depop, like funny things that have. Someone ordered a pair of trousers and they got them. And it was like, they got the trousers and there was comb down the inside of the leg. Speaking
of cum.
Yeah.
What's good?
Nothing.
I got nothing on the news.
But unrelated, Roderic O'Gorman is out of the Green Party.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you're really doubling down. You're like, no, that episode is dead. The one that we recorded.
Yeah,
before.
That's dead.
All right, fine.
Well, we recorded a very bad episode.
Yeah. I mean, the Roderic O'Gorman stuff was sort of funny.
It's funny how normally after we record an episode, you're like, that was bad. It was really bad. And then you go, oh, actually wasn't so bad.
No.
The one we recorded the other day was so bad.
Yeah.
Like there's so much, so much silence in it. We were both in such bad mood.
I was in a really bad mood. I still am like in a lot of pain with my back, and I'm very tired. I've slept about most of the day, and I still feel like shit. But I remember recording that when I was like, all right, we're nearly done with this, and then I like opened up the dial, and it was like 1 hour and 30 minutes, including a 10-minute break we took in between. And I was like, fuck, man, this is brutal.
That was complete. I had that exact same thing. I was like, how the hell is it only 1.5 hours?
Usually it's a breeze. Usually it's like, one hour 40, and we still have like these articles to talk about.
Yeah. And then we were just like, oh, let's get up Waterford Whispers. And we're just reading them. Like we were just reading them out loud. You're like,
yeah, that's not good. I think I need to back off of Waterford Whispers, because if I'm not able to come up with content, that I can't really be, just dragging them going like, this is so fucking stupid. What was the one they had though that was really stupid? I mean,
from that one.
Just getting like, oh, wasn't that terrible when we did that? And then somehow 10 minutes later, look at this one. Just still quoting. No, but the one that I was like, this sucks, was when Marine Le Pen says 9 after losing the election.
Yeah, that was brother. So. Yeah. Yeah.
But also, like, the thing I found out, because I thought, like, there was another article that they had on Waterford Whispers, and it said, the headline was, what was the one about Putin bombs a hospital to get over, like, the bad loss of, do you know what I'm saying?
It was like, Putin, let me try to come up with it, and then you can tell me if I'm close, okay?
Okay.
It's like Putin. Oh, I remember.
Okay.
I just straight up remember it.
All right.
It's Putin bombs children's hospital to cheer himself up after Marie Le Pen loses French election.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's Putin cheers himself up after French election disappointment with bombing of Kiev Children's Hospital. And the thing is, I was like, it's almost like I can see the guy writing this fucking thing where like all of the, Fintan O'Toole centrist liberal dad stuff is just a big soup in his head.
Yeah.
So it means all the things that I don't like are related. And you're just like, Putin's obviously a fascist, and Marine Le Pen is a fascist. Now, Marine Le Pen is a fascist, but the way that so to kind of, I'm going to feel like I'm repeating myself, even though I'm not, because this episode wasn't released. But there was a surprise victory for the left, and sort of from a crown centrist party. They managed to get the seats together to prevent Marine Le Pen from getting an overall majority, and that they did a lot worse than was expected. But either way, the lead up to that, when it was suspected that Marine Le Pen would win, was like Financial Times doing like, businesses prepared to do deals with Marine Le Pen. Like there was all these things. Starmer says that he'll speak to Marine Le Pen in government. There was all this sort of like coverage that was favorable towards, like, listen, they may be racist, but the money is going to be safe. There was a lot of reassurances.
Yeah.
And then when the left made the gains... Yeah, sorry.
It was... Go on.
No, just when the left made the gains, then all of a sudden the headlines were, Le Pen loses victory, but economic turmoil for future. Everybody's worried about the economic future, and it was like, that would not have happened if Marine Le Pen had won. They wouldn't have included anything about the economics, and the fear that businesses had. And the reason I bring that up, just to finish this point, is that like It's because Le Pen is like Giorgia Meloni, like your man in Hungary. It's like, I'm a racist, I'm a homophobe, but as long as I agree to these 3 or 4 things, then I'm allowed to be part of the club. And NATO is one of them. Okay, so
it's like, as long as we can do business.
Yeah. If you support Ukraine, then that signals that you support NATO, and that means that money spigot doesn't get turned off for like the military-industrial complex. So
And does Le Pen support NATO, or does she support Ukraine?
Yeah, well, those are the noises that apparently she's been making. Just to kind of be like, yeah. So, like, anyway, that was that. That was what I heard anyway. And now I could be wrong. Somebody sent me an article. Actually, here's where she says it. But I heard somebody on a podcast go, like, they've changed their position on Ukraine for the specific purpose of kind of, softening themselves up for, they look serious and they look like they should be in power if they wear suits and agree to these type of things. So the idea of like, Vladimir Putin really wanted Le Pen to win. You're like, what made you think that? Just because you were reading all these papers and you were like, well, orange bad man. So like, that's the thing with Trump. They go like, Trump is friends with Putin. And it's like, Trump is... A lot of the stuff that Trump did when he was in power, like expansion of NATO and hostility towards all this stuff, is led to these things. But it's also not Trump, because it's Trump being there is entirely irrelevant because the State Department is running on its own momentum. Like it doesn't matter who's in power.
I mean, a lot of this reason why they were like Trump likes Putin was because, I mean, he really did. Like, I know there's a lot of this, but Trump really did talk about Putin like he wanted to fuck him.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way he talks about people he likes. And remember, he kept, like, inviting, like, Russian delegates into the Oval Office and, like, leaving papers around the place.
I didn't remember that, yeah.
Do you not remember that?
No, that's funny, though.
Like, he was really, like, he did like them.
No, he did. He liked Putin, and he liked because obviously, like he probably has a lot of Russian oligarchs as friends, but he likes power and he likes money. So of course he's going to fucking like the Russians. I mean, that's their whole thing,
Yeah.
Like he loved Kim Jong-un as well, which is also incredibly funny.
It's so weird. He's such a like love-hate Ross and Rachel thing with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, that was it's
like because he was like, oh, we get along, and then he would be like, there's a big button. What was the thing? It's like, I have a big button on my desk, and I press it. North Korea. Do you ever think about like Kim Jong-un doesn't know that I have a button on my desk and I can just put it whenever I want.
Yeah.
Should I push it? Remember that?
I don't really know. I know that he called Kim Jong-un Rocket Man. That was one thing he used to say.
Yeah.
But he also like the thing is that it's almost like an episode of Star Trek where it's like they come across the Klingons and then they're like, one of the a captain who's not that experienced will go like, "Sir, what can I do for you today?" And then they go, "Turn the comms off." No, the Klingons appreciate power. You have to come across like, "Fuck you, asshole," and then all of a sudden the Klingons back down. It's also like that with like Kim Jong-un. It's like, fuck that guy, Rocket Man. I'll press a button, I'll blow his shit up, and you just expect like that's gonna really piss off Kim Jong-un. And then he loved Trump as well. And it was insane that like the thing that these guys like and it's a really kind of useless point to make, or like I feel embarrassed to make it, but people always point to obviously Trump's career as an entertainer, but specifically his love of like professional wrestling, where like something like Vince McMahon will be like, there's like heels in wrestling, but there's also this idea of like, well, actually, this is a separate point, but Vince McMahon would be like, I play the boss and they shave my head, they humiliate me, they beat me up because everybody wants to beat the shit out of their boss, okay? But I'm getting like serious money and I don't give a fuck and I will like sexually assault everybody and just get away with it. It'll be fine because I have money. In fact, actually, I don't know if you know this, but one of the Emmanuels, I can't remember which one it was, but the Emanuels are these kind of democratic, like businessmen, basically. One of them was Barack Obama's political advisor. What was his name?
What do you mean the Emanuels? Like, are they a family or what?
Yeah, there's like 3 brothers.
Oh, you mean democratic? Like, yeah, sorry. I thought even they were like democratic.
Ari Emanuel is like the business guy. And then the other one, his brothers are Rahm Emanuel. He's the one who advised Barack Obama. And then the brother Ezekiel Emanuel, he wrote an article from years back. I just remember this, where he was basically advocating for like euthanasia, to put down people who couldn't work.
Okay.
Like, if you get too old, then you should be put down. But Ari Emanuel, I believe, he's part of an entertainment and media agency that owns the UFC and WWE. So he like bought the WWE, and then he brought Vince McMahon back in. And this was after all of the allegations of sexual assault had come out.
Really?
So it was like they knew that it had happened, but they were like, it doesn't matter, because he's one of us. He's got the money. And it's the same with Trump, you know, when he was like friends with the Clintons and they were friends with Epstein and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, what was my point? The point is that there's all these like heels and personalities, and like it's like a big Power Man soap opera where it's like, this guy, you hate him this season, but you're going to love him the next season and stuff like that. And I feel like that language is kind of like in Trump's DNA. So when he's going like, fucking Rocket Man over there, and they're like, or even like to his own supporters, where he's like, what is woke? What does it even mean? You didn't even care about transgender a few minutes ago. And they're like, we are like that. We are. And they're like, they love being goaded and being got at and kind of, you know. So he's got that wrestling energy. And it's amazing that these guys respond to it. I'd say less Putin. I think Putin he seems to just find it amusing, in all honesty. He's like, this is like my little brother's friend or something, coming around going like, I've got all the toys, and you know, and
he might also just think he's good crack. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's probably a laugh.
It is cool the way in wrestling, and I'm not going to get into wrestling. I'm not going to become another one of those middle-aged people who like wrestling.
Yeah, no, I hate it.
But it is cool the way some of them are just like, I play the villain. It's like being in a panto, and that's
exactly.
Like, that seems like the more fun job. I made a joke last time we were recording. I said only in Ireland.
It'd be easier to just have that. Not reference, you know. I could just take that part of the episode and put it here.
The energy's better on this one.
All right, cool. Let's do it. Let's keep it going, man.
Only in Ireland would the Minister for Finance not have a bank account, and a paedophile be Minister for Children.
Yeah.
Now, Gareth's already heard this, so that's why he's not laughing. But the people at home,
laughing.
Anyway, that's what I had to say about that. He's not going to do a very good job. And I don't think people really like it. Reddit Ireland loves it.
What? What Honest the fuck is going on? Or Ireland is one of the most fucking weird subreddits.
I love to know who they are.
Jesus.
I don't know if you remember, if you're aware of Reddit, but like when I was I've been using it for so long, so embarrassing. But there was a thing called like the two largest subreddits. One was called Jailbait, and it was like have you heard of that? It's literally like what it sounds like. It was like like it's nude pictures of underage girls. Like it's just that. Or maybe not funny. I never looked at it. But,
I know.
But like it was like sexually provocative.
Okay, all right.
Help, give her a hand.
No, it's fine. She was saying, Gareth, the swans are back.
And then the other one was atheism.
Yeah.
And
wonder what the overlap is there.
And then they did a thing called like the Faces of Atheism.
Yeah.
And they were like all take it, because the whole tone of it was like, it's brave to be an atheist, you know?
Yeah.
And they would post pictures of themselves and a bit of a description. And they'd be like, I am an atheist. And then they were all so crazy looking.
Yeah.
That it like completely ruined the subreddit. Like people just stopped using it.
That's so funny.
I want Or Ireland to do one. Because I just want to know, who are these? Like, they were just like, when this happened, they were like, he's going to do a great job. He's one of the more accomplished ministers. He's done a really good job in that role.
No, he hasn't.
Really I know. But they, like, and then there were one or two people who were like, he's really unpopular. People, like, they weren't even like, oh, he's done a bad job. They were like, he's really unpopular, you know?
Yeah.
And the response was like, yeah, I think we know why. Like,
that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like they're just being like, oh, they're like right-wing homophobes and like conspiracy
oh my
theorists.
God, these guys are mental. These guys are so crazy. Like they'll be, I think I was talking to you about this. This is a good time to talk about just like how, like I'm kind of repeating myself, but like it used to be a case that you could kind of be like, I understand which camp this person is in and this person is in and these people. Now I'm just like flabbergasted. Like, so when it was the journal comments section, which is kind of approximation of Or Ireland as well, it used to just be kind of like contrarian assholes, do you know? I remember the first thing I read there that really upset me in the comments section for the journal was, remember when the club that is now called Wigwam was called the Twisted Pepper, and a girl died from having some bad ecstasy. Yeah. And this guy was like, good. He went like, good that this docky bitch is dead. And I was like, fucking hell, man. You know, like I was like, and then I kind of, you start to see the output of people and you realize like anything that goes up there. So they could have like the previous week been talking about this thing. Oh, this is bad. But then all of a sudden it changes to be what they wanted. And then they go, this is also bad. This sucks. And you kind of realize that they're just contrarians. They're just like whatever the opposite like take. And they get a really smug delight in kind of just never taking a position except for the opposite.
The difference with the Irish subreddit is that they do take positions.
Mm.
So like O'Gorman is popular. Eamon Ryan was popular.
Yeah.
And like if something was like praising him, they'd be like, great. And if something was criticizing him, they'd be like, no, that's
really
wrong. Like they take quite strong.
Yeah.
Like their other thing is like the only solution to the housing crisis is high-rise apartment blocks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Not mid-rise, not like building more houses. It's like, they're just like, Irish people are too greedy. We just need to be like the Germans. And we need to live in apartment. Build up. And like, who cares about skyline? Like, it's just like, there's only one solution and there's no nuance. But like, yeah, they were delighted with the O'Gorman thing. And
it's
they were
crazy.
Even, a lot of them were even like, what's the other one? What's the one he was running against? What's her name?
Pippa Hackett. She sucks.
Yeah. They were like, oh, we like her too, but I think O'Gorman, I think O'Gorman's going to do a good job.
It's mental.
I know we ran through it on the Abandon episode, but it's like he was overseeing the
Department of Integration. First,
like disaster.
One thing is the Department of Integration. So the ones who are sending in fucking bulldozers to get all these tents removed before St. Patrick's Day and pushed people out to the back of Beyond and like destroyed all of their stuff. That's him, okay?
Yeah.
And what, you got a rise of the far right, loads of anti-migrant protest, and this guy is our Minister for Integration.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have like all that stuff bad enough, but then you have The mother and baby homes, which is probably the biggest scar in his entire reputation.
Yeah, the publishing of the report, and it's like on that report that he oversaw, the publishing, like he lied about procedure, but then like on the report, there's like an asterisk that's like the methodology used for this has led to some potential errors. Like you can't. It's not a good report if you're like, by the way, some of this might be bullshit. Like, the people who provided testimony were so aggrieved by that.
Yeah. And like the records being sealed as well. But then he goes, yeah, no, I have to seal them because of GDPR. And then the Attorney General goes, no, we don't. And he's like, nevertheless.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
and I think his second excuse was like, oh, the people only submitted testimony on the understanding that it would be destroyed.
Yeah.
Or like sealed. And then, like I was saying, there was loads of problems with that where like a lot of people, there were two strands and one was invite only. And you could be invited to give testimony, not anonymously.
Yeah.
And then there was the confidential one.
Yeah.
And everyone was funneled towards the confidential one. Even people who would have liked to like give open testimony.
Yeah.
They weren't even aware of the other one. They weren't made aware of it.
Yeah.
So there were, and then even with the confidential one, there are, I don't know them, but there are ways of contacting those people and saying, if you like, we can seal these.
Yeah.
Or if you personally wanted it to be published, we'll publish your one. You know what I mean? But he was just like, no one's going to see this. Because it would show up problems with the methodology or problems with how sloppily the report was done.
Yeah. And like I mentioned it in the last one as well, and I'll have to try and find it, but there's a clip of like Holly Cairns coming with this fucking mad long question for him to just be like, you know, do you think that this is appropriate? Blah, blah, blah. I have all these things, all this testimony. I can't remember what it was. There was a number of little instances with that whole report, and Roderic O'Gorman's role was just weather the storm, deny, delay.
Yeah.
And we're home free after the media just obviously lose interest. And he, a gay man, and I think this is, to me, this is, I hate this the most of all, which is like, he is a gay man, okay? And they were like, we're going to need you to protect the Catholic Church. He's like, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I can be in the position that I'm in now, where I'm the leader. I'm the last leader of a dying party, and a party whose name is the Green Party.
Yeah.
You know? The Green Party that has presided over, like, you know, missed every emissions target, created like this terrible can return scheme. You know, every single thing they do is punitive, awful.
It worked with they worked in a government that just courts new data center development.
Exactly. And so like, it's like, I mean, I think if you were to, you know, where people are like, oh, if the government just did this, then they'd fix the housing crisis. And then it's like, you're under the misapprehension that they want to fix the housing crisis.
Yeah.
So when you look at the Greens, you're like, well, the Greens have been very unsuccessful as a Green party. And then you're like, no, they've been very successful as the mudguard that they know that they are. And there was a bunch of people in 2019, which was like Saoirse McHugh, Sinead Mercier, you know, who... a lot of young, exciting people, Lorna Bogue as well, who injected new energy into the Green Party and were kind of like, no, it can be different. It should be different.
Yeah.
And then once they won, then it was like, cut all of these fucking people out or make it so uninhabitable for them. We don't want them here. We want people like Brian Ledden. We want people like Roderic O'Gorman, and that's what they have. We got Pippa Hackett, and we've got, what's that fucking dickhead's name? The one who's the Minister for Arts and Culture.
Catherine Martin.
Yeah. Although she's like, I mean, I'm not going to say she's good, but she's slightly better. She's of a different ilk than them.
She did the rollout of the artist doll.
Yeah. Which I didn't get, so fuck her. So anyway, you have all that. But anyway, the party is like, it's like what happened with the Labour right, over in the UK, where they're just like, or actually probably more akin to like Sinn Féin, where it's like the left is a good costume to get votes, but then when you're serious about getting power, in air quotes, then you need to cut all of this fucking dead weight.
Yeah.
And, and now they're Anyway, Roderic O'Gorman fucking sucks. I hate him. What was my even point with that? Just that he was like the bagman for the Catholic Church as a gay man is insane to me. But yeah, so Holly Cairns is going at him with this big long question, and then he just basically leans forward to the microphone. Response was just no. Leans back, and then they go, "Is that all? You don't have anything else?" And he's like, "What do you want me to say?" He's like, he doesn't give a shit. Like, he's just an inhuman asshole. He's like, he is not. He is a politician. He is. Anyway,
from Sockdem's Twitter account, October 21st, 2020. During the debate on amendments to the mother and baby home legislation, Holly Cairns asked the minister, Roderic O'Gorman, if he would accept any of the amendments put forward by TDs that are based on input from survivors and human rights experts. He said no.
Now, our next contributor is Deputy Holly Cairns, please.
Thank you, Count Corliff. First of all, Minister, could you please clarify from the outset if you intend to accept any of the amendments offered by myself and my colleagues today?
The Minister will clarify his position when we call on him, and we'll be doing that when we have this round of contributors completed. Okay,
well, I'd appreciate that. A few weeks ago... Sorry? Yeah, a few weeks ago I sat through a 3-hour debate on the forestry bill. The government didn't accept even one of the amendments of the over 100 that we submitted, and it was only towards the end that I actually asked had they any plans to do that, and it transpired that they didn't, so I was just curious to know what will be the case. You won't be accepting amendments?
So you don't wish to contribute then, Deputy?
I might later. I just wanted to clarify that on the outset.
All right, that's fine. We'll come back to you if that's fine. Deputy Joan Collins, please.
So he sucks, and I can't believe that they like him, and that boggles the mind. But I was going to bring up one thing was that the podcast I listened to, News Talk, have a podcast about the far right, which I kind of find a little too flattering towards them.
I just want to turn on my big light in my room.
Yeah,
it's
go for
dark.
it. Zainab, can you do me a favor? Can you pour me a cup of coffee?
I'm busy.
Whatever's left in the pot.
After your carry-on,
What did I do?
I was showing you 5 swans down the
Yeah,
river.
I'm recording something. I've seen the swans. All right.
That's better.
Yes. So Derek Bly was being interviewed on this podcast, and
By
then some guy in News Talk. What's up? What'd you do?
That stupid fucking new lid just spilled the milk all over me.
Oh shit. That's my milk.
And that's the end of the free part. For the rest of the episode, go to patreon.com/CelticLigers and give a $5 a month. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks. Bye. Bye.